welcome to Keep It Weird, the podcast for all things strange and unusual, frigid and freaky, pleasant and possessed, and everything in between. Every time we get together, we chat about something weird, and this episode is bursting at the seams with strangeness. This week, we're taking a field trip with our favorite ginger/middle school teacher to look deep into our bodies and find out what the razzle-dazzle is going on with our reproductive system and what happens to our bodies when we freeze. We're also going to be asking some serious questions about the timing of all things. Why are there certain times of the year where things just seem off? Bizarre occurrences happen a little more frequently, and people are more on edge. Is it the moon, sun, and stars, or are some months just cursed? You're going to need some supplies for this field trip, so make sure you have your signed permission slips, grab the nearest farmer's almanac, and a barf bag, and stay with the group. Do not lose sight of the group. My name is Ashley, and this is my wonderful co-host, Lauren.
Hi, weirdos. That was such a good intro. I loved the stay with the group, because that is very real.
It was so funny because I wrote it and then I was like, I'm going to Google things that are said on field trips because I haven't been on a field trip in, 20 years. And the first thing was stay with the group. And I was like, okay, so I nailed it.
Yeah, it's like stay with the group, find a buddy. Yeah, don't lose your buddy. Wilder is going on his first field trip in like 2 weeks. And I'm so excited. I'm like, what
Where are they going?
Rite of passage moment. The Natural History Museum, which is also adorable.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
I'm very excited, but also scared for his teacher. I'm like, as his parent and a teacher, I know it's going to be a whole lot. So I am feeling for her and all the parent volunteers, but it's cute and exciting.
We've talked about field trips before because I know I've talked about some of my worst field trips. Did you ever have like a really good field trip?
Your bowling field trip.
The Bowling Hall of Fame? I can't talk about it.
Haunted me.
I don't remember ever getting to go on field trips in high school, really.
We never really did either. I remember them more as kids.
Grade school, for sure. Grade school, we would go to the zoo. One year we went to Six Flags. One year we did leave the state because we went to Indiana so we could go to Holiday World.
Holiday World.
Oh, it's been so long since we brought up Holiday World.
I know, my gosh. No, you've been on good field trips.
Really great. And then also really bad.
Like, well, yeah, Bowling Hall of Fame.
Went to the Arch once in St. Louis. That was scary.
It was scary. Oh, just because of the height?
Yeah, when you go in the Arch. Have you ever been in the Arch? Oof.
I have. I went as a kid. I feel like I barely remember it, though. It wasn't a field trip. It was just like a family trip. But I do remember saying, like, this is a bit too high.
It's a bit too high. And the thing is like you're in like a very, very small elevator.
The elevator.
And like it kind of curves because it's
you're
an
going
arch.
up the side of the arch.
And the whole time you're like, I'm not sure. One of these days someone's going to get hurt. And then you get up there and like you are moving.
There's like
You're definitely, if it's a windy day, you're moving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not comfy. No, that's a great field trip. I feel like you have good ones. I have nothing but planetarium.
But I do want our listeners to write in and tell us what your favorite field trip was and what your least favorite field trip was, because I'm interested to see where people went.
And I don't even have a good least favorite, which makes me more sad than like a favorite, because my favorite was definitely when we went to Six Flags as well. Like that is a memorable one. The Six Flags field trip was phenomenal. I don't think we went anywhere that was garbage. It was either like Six Flags, a museum, planetarium. We went to a farm and like got pumpkins and apples. Bowling Hall of Fame, just really like
rough stuff.
It's phenomenal though. Like that you have that memory to be like, this is where they took us. I can't.
You get to bowl at the end though.
Well, I love bowling, so I'm here for that.
Real quick, before we get into our topics for today, have you been keeping up with Karen Read's retrial?
Oh my god!
Oh, juicy!
Oh, juicy. Buddy! Yeah, It's so,
So
juicy. And I love all of these like lying idiots being called out. Anyway, tell me, how are you
Once
feeling?
again, there's no way in hell she can be anything but not guilty.
Mm-hmm.
They have done nothing to prove that she did this. And here's the thing, I don't even know if she did it or not. Like,
Right.
she may have, but they have done nothing to prove to me that she did. And everything that they have, quote unquote, proved that she did, the defense has evidence to squash it.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they're like, well, there was this broken taillight. And it's like, well, here's a bunch of footage that you have reversed so that it doesn't look like it's that taillight, but it is that taillight. And there's a man standing by the taillight for an indeterminate amount of time who could be doing anything, like taking pieces of taillight.
Yep. 1000%.
So even if that's your evidence, buy evidence, because we have video footage of someone messing with that taillight. So you don't get to use that evidence. They have nothing.
Exactly like what you said. We don't know exactly what happened, so I'm not here to be like, yeah, Karen Read is 1000% innocent. But it's like how our justice system works is if there is no evidence and it's like beyond a reasonable doubt, like you can say this person is innocent, not guilty, because nothing is showing that she did this. Nothing has come up. Everything they've tried to bring up, it's like, no, so actually this is how that worked, like you said. And the funniest thing to me is that one idiot, I forget her name, I should know it because she's like always on the witness stand and being mocked. I don't know any of their names online, but one of the women who was there that night who Googled like
has long to die in cold.
Has long die cold snow. You fucking Googled that. That to me, if I was on that jury, would be all I needed. Is her Googling that. I would be like, oh, not even that you did anything, ma'am, but like you saw it. You didn't do anything. Doesn't seem like Karen was even like there at this time.
And then to be like, I Googled it the next day after he was found.
They're like, so you literally didn't. That's not great either, first of all. But then
also, that's not great either.
It came out that they were like, no, it was at like 2 a.m.
The house where this took place at, the yard, the fact that the guy who owned the house was a police officer, never came outside to ask what all the police were doing in his yard. That to me is insane.
Insane.
As a police officer, as a person, I just feel like I would be like, hi, like, do you guys need anything?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Would you like some water? Would you like some coffee? Do you want me to make you some coffee?
Let me check in.
There's just like things that you would do as a person when people were in your yard,
right,
that they didn't do. And then also the fact that like after this happened, they rehomed their dog, replaced all the carpet in their house, sold their house.
Shady.
Destroyed their phones. Destroyed their phones. Destroyed their phones. Not got a new phone. Destroyed their phones. What?
That's not shady at all.
No one has proven to me that Karen Read didn't run him over.
Correct. But they haven't proven that she has.
There's so much evidence that something else happened. Boy, God, it's so juicy. And listeners, if you're like, what are they talking about? There is an HBO documentary called Body in the Snow that covers the first trial. It's really great. It's very comprehensive. There's a couple like juicy deets that aren't covered in it that I was like, why didn't they talk about XYZ? But Karen Read is on trial again now for supposedly drunkenly running over her boyfriend and killing him, which none of us think she did. Anyways,
before I jump in, I had one more. I never have business, but I do, only because it's a personal weird thing that happened.
Hell yes.
I had a glitch in the Matrix moment. So it's over such a dumb thing. So this little white eyeliner, it's a very like thick pencil-y eyeliner, which I don't really use anymore, but I used it today like to accentuate my point. But like it's already starting to like run because it's like not good quality, but that aids to the story. So last night we are at our friend's house watching basketball. I'm obviously not watching the basketball, but I'm socializing.
But I am present.
My friend Kelly, I am there. My friend Kelly goes, oh, did somebody drop this eyeliner? She picks this up off the floor and she was like, I just found this, want to make sure like it gets to whoever's bag. And I was like, oh my gosh, I used to use that eyeliner in like high school and college. That's so funny. And she was like, whose is it? Everyone in the room is like, I don't know. I don't have eyeliner in my bag. Like, no one's claiming it. And so I grab it and I've ripped it off since, but there was like wrap it, like the plastic wrap it comes
Yeah.
in was like
That you,
on
like,
it,
peel
but
off.
looked like a badger had like tried to take it off and it was hanging off, which is how I always opened it in high school because I'm an idiot. And so I would just like use this eyeliner for months and months on end until it turned into a stub. And it would always have this nasty plastic wrap that was like covered in my foundation. It looked awful. So I walked over and that's the case. It's like this plastic covered in foundation. I'm like, oh, I think that's mine. Like I used to use that and it like looks like one that I had. I wonder if like it fell out of one of my old bags or something. And so I pick it up because no one else is claiming it. Nobody else cares. But I'm like standing in the corner staring at it like, where'd you come from? And the purse that I brought is a new purse because I like sometimes do bring out old bags, but I like went over to our area where our stuff was and I was like, no, this is a brand new purse that I like just loaded up today with like just the basics. So I was like, that's so weird, but I tried to just forget about it, put it in my purse. I have a memory of being like, eh. Then we get home and like put Wilder to bed. I'm thinking about it again right before bed, like, oh, I want to go see that eyeliner. That was so weird. It's not in my purse anymore. And I was like, I know. I fucking know. Like, it's not one of those, oh, I must have remembered it wrong. I fucking know I put it in there. Nowhere to be found. So I'm like kind of freaking out. Alex doesn't give a shit because he's not in my brain. And he's like, I'm going to bed. What are you talking about? And I was like, the eyeliner.
Remember?
I'm like checking everywhere. It's just gone. I try to forget about it. I do eventually fall asleep. Then today, I'm getting ready for this podcast recording. So I have this little like tower on my desk of makeup. That's the drawer I was just opening. And I go to get my eyeshadow out. And this eyeliner is just sitting next to my eyeshadow. But this time, the plastic, badger opening plastic is gone. I haven't bought this since I swear college or maybe like in my early 20s when I lived out in LA. I'm trying to like justify it.
Why is that there?
Why is this eyeliner a glitch in the matrix? Why was it in the drawer where I definitely didn't put it? Why was it on my friend's floor? Why was it anywhere? And like, why is it different? So I'm like, did I go like in and out of timelines yesterday? I don't know what's happening. And I had to share.
What?
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 I don't know what to do with this information. And nothing like that has ever happened to me. I feel like you've had like time jumps or loss of time, maybe nothing like exactly like this, but I feel like you'll tell these stories. I'm like, man, nothing like that has ever happened to me. So it's just weird to be in a situation where I'm like, I cannot explain this at all.
And it is weird when it's something as innocuous as eyeliner, but I feel like a lot of glitches in the Matrix are like that, where it's like, I had this earring. It wasn't anything special, but it was unique. Like, it wasn't something that like I could mistake for something else. I lost it for months, and then it was on my pillow when I came home.
Why?
And it's like,
what?
No, it's not possible. What's happening?
It's not possible.
It's not possible.
I don't have any explanation. And like how it changed is the weirdest thing too. Like definitely I discovered it in high school, used it in college, and then like maybe my first year in LA, but it was so
Weird.
Yeah, I just had to share because I was like that. I can't explain it.
Well, and we also have this show's made of super synchronicity because the two of us, lifelong stovetop fry pan bacon cookers, both started thousands of miles away from each other. Both started cooking bacon in the oven this month.
This month.
For
the first time.
And we're gabbing about how much easier cooking bacon is in the oven is than frying it on the stove.
Again, dumbest thing in the world.
So stupid. Means nothing.
Ashley.
Have you ever made bacon in the oven? It's so much easier. And you're like, I just started doing that like weeks ago. And I was like, me too.
We're so weird.
And I've known about it for years.
Same.
For years, people made bacon in the oven. And I was like, that's how poor people make bacon. Like, rich people make bacon on the stove.
That's how dummies make.
I'm never doing it again. It is so much messier.
Sick of the grease slapping me in the face.
Fucking burnt with grease. It's so hard to like get perfect bacon. And then you could just put it in the oven for 17 minutes and
it
flip
all
it
cooks
once.
at the same time, and I don't have to like flip
And
it
then
around.
you could just throw away the fucking tinfoil. I can't. We gotta move on. I can't talk about bacon anymore. I'm so mad about it.
I'm so upset, but I also like I love this for both of us that we have like discovered this, but also like, but weird. Like why?
Weird, why?
My gosh. Super synchronicity, everybody.
There's something connected, and it really could just be like we spend so much time talking with each other that when I have a thought, you have a thought.
Speaking of,
I
had a thought.
She did it! Yay! She did it! She did it! She had a thought! Woo!
I had a thought. Are certain times of year more cursed and more negative than others?
Here's the thing. I have an answer for this question, and I can give it to
me now.
Right away. Yeah. Taxes.
Tax day, April 15th. Fuck it all to hell.
Go on. Why are certain times of year more cursed than others?
And are they?
Or
like, are we making this up? Have you ever noticed that sometimes it feels like bad things come in waves? Or that a certain time of year just feels off, bad energy in the air? Taxes. 1000%.
Taxes.
And when Mercury is in retrograde, which I feel like I do believe in, but at the same time, I totally use as an excuse when I'm like, I'm mad because of this.
Why am I in a bad mood? And it's
Mercury
is spinning backwards again.
I know. But I want to dive deeper into this genuinely because I was like, are there cursed months, like periods of time that like seem to carry more tragedies and negative things? So I was inspired. The reason I had this thought was last week I was talking to my boss, and I feel like I've already talked about this in the podcast because it related to something else. She lost her mom and like has really been struggling with it. Yeah, like she lost her in December, but in that same month she lost her best friend, her mom, found out her brother had terminal cancer, and
oh my god,
I forget what else. There was like one other thing that was more like I think finances. I know there doesn't even need to be, but there was like something like financial too. And so we were just talking about this last week of like the when it rains it pours theory, and how like it's kind of a cheesy saying, but it happens. And really like it helped me relate to like 2 years ago when I lost 4 family members within a 6-month period. And I felt like every time I would text you
were like, am I cursed? Or
yeah, like it's like a morbidly comedic moment where I would be like, you probably think I'm lying, but another family member passed away. I was like, I didn't know what to do with it. So I was like, there is something to this. And then also a little promo for our Patreon and why you should go join and listen to our bonus episodes. Julia and I recorded our Keep It Tiered for April, and we made it like a birthday episode because her birthday is April 25th. So we were like, let's talk about April.
Happy birthday, Julia.
Happy birthday. And we're still going to be depressing as we always are. But we actually had so much fun even talking about dark things. But we were doing like true crime stories and just talking about stuff that happened in April. And by the end, we were both like, April sucks. And so April's then wild. That on top of my conversation with my boss and just thinking about this, I was like, are certain times of year worse? And like, why do things happen in clusters? So that is like kind of what came about of this. Can time be cursed? What's going on? So let's start with some evidence. I was like, this is where I went with it. April, for example, because we are recording in the month of April, this will technically be released in May, but like early May, so stay with me. April is infamous. I also think it's interesting when all these dark things happen in the month of April because we say, when it rains, it pours. Mm-hmm. April showers!
Bring May flowers, supposedly.
Yeah, where are the flowers at? But also, showers. When it rains, it pours. Okay, something's there.
It's just spring, Lauren.
So, there's not. There's not. It's just free. But I was just like, ooh! So the Titanic sank on April 15th, 1912. Columbine Massacre, April 20th, 1999. Virginia Tech, April 16th, 2007. Hitler was born April 20th. The fall of Berlin, also in April 1945, at the fault of Hitler. Waco Siege, April 1993.
Damn.
Assassination of Abraham Lincoln. I didn't put the year. That's on me. But it happened it's in April, but I don't know when Lincoln was around. I don't know history. It was April though. We'll look up that year in a minute. San Francisco earthquake, April 1906. Notre Dame fire, April 2019, which was crazy because Alex and I had just been there in April of 2018. And so we were both just like, that's so insane that it's on fire a year later. Boston Marathon bombings, April 2013. Ludlow Massacre, April 1914, which I did not know about this. And again, like, I hate when I don't know things and I feel so insensitive, but it was a conflict between striking coal miners and the National Guard that resulted in a ton of deaths, a lot of violence, and unfortunately some children, which is what made it crazy. But that was in 1914, April. The Deepwater Horizon oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico, it's April 2010. Huge environmental disaster. Chernobyl, April 26th, 1986. There's even more, but I was like, I don't just want to make this a listicle. I was going to say,
I really thought there was like 4 or 5, and then you just kept going, and I'm like, oh no, April's
There's more. There was like Sri Lanka bombings too. Like, so many things happened. So it's gotten to the point that some historians refer to it as like America's most cursed week. They even like put it down to a week because a lot of it is like right in mid-April.
Yeah.
And so again, like, you could just go on and on. So many things happen. A lot of true crime stories come from April as well. And so looking into it, some historians and criminologists are saying like, okay, well, the beginning of April does coincide with the introduction of daylight savings time. So that means we start the month with an hour less of sleep, and the days are seeming longer to us. The sun is sitting in the sky longer, which means we can work longer hours. Like, that's like how people's brains work. So they're like more focused, they're paying attention more, but they're sleeping less. And less sleep means more fatigue, moodiness, forgetfulness, all the things, feelings of depression, physical ailments. It can lead to serious health issues. But then it like can get even darker when you go to the crime side, because in some circles with like especially criminologists and terrorism experts, April is known for being the start, at least, and usually the peak of really disturbing events, higher crime rates in general, for sure, but also like a cluster of attacks that aren't just crimes. Like, they can be like nationwide, even worldwide, big attacks on a larger scale, and they call it the killing season in like the terrorism and criminologist groups. So Heidi Bayrick, a domestic terrorism expert at the Southern Poverty Law Center, was quoted as saying, it's this really strange phenomenon that we sometimes refer to in April as the beginning of killing season. And we know from looking at data that there tends to be a season which a lot of domestic terrorism attacks occur. And the season runs from early April into the fall, but peaking in April and early May. So it's a legitimate thing that terrorism experts and criminologists are like seeing in their data, and they like have to prepare for April for this reason. So it's like, what, why, how?
Yeah.
And then getting off of April, because again, I could probably make a whole episode about April, but there's also August, and this is referred to as the month of disasters. That is its cute little nickname.
Okay.
From political and military experts. And again, going to some historical things first. World War I, August 1914. World War II, essentially August 1939. There's like a little bit of, because a lot was happening. So it's like, when did it really start? But basically August 1939.
It kicked off August.
Hiroshima and Nagasaki bombings, August 1945. Iraq invasion of Kuwait, August 1990. So again, are these coincidences? Is there something deeper going on? Totally could be coincidence. You could say the same about April, but it is just like April and August are 2 months where there's a lot going on. So then you have to look into the same thing these like criminologists and experts are trying to do. They're like, why is this happening? Like, yes, let's just prep ourselves because we see it happening over and over every year, but like, what's going on? So you can look into like seasonal shifts and our psychology and how we deal with it. So it's like light levels, weather, our routines. When things get thrown off, our bodies, our brains respond to it differently. So in the spring, a lot of those tragic events in April occurred, but spring is a time of biological rewiring, rebirth.
Allergies.
Allergies also. No, it's literally a
All
thing I
these
have in my notes.
terrorists are like, I can't take it anymore. If I sneeze one more time, I'm blowing up a building.
The pollen is fucking pollen. But like, it's so crazy that that's
wild.
real. Like, it's like allergies, but also because it's this time that we call like rebirth and rewiring as we're coming out of winter, the melatonin drops, serotonin rises, energy increases, and this also gives people restlessness. So if you're not handling it in the best way, if you don't have resources in place, if you also or you already have like a mental imbalance, that's going to set in what could be a dangerous, violent way. And psychologists have found spikes in violent behavior, but also suicide during seasonal transitions, especially in early spring. And I've been feeling like absolute dog shit lately, not to a dangerous point.
No, I've been struggling lately too.
Yeah. And I feel like we talked about this on our last episode. And also, I was like, again, I can laugh now, but when I was recording the bonus episode with Julia, I edited a full half hour out because I just started bawling
Oh my God.
to her. And I was even like, oh, like I love being emotionally available for you, but like, what is going on? And I was like, I don't know.
I don't know.
So I have just like been in such a weird place. So this has honestly been like a comforting episode for me to research because I'm seeing that this is happening to a lot of people.
Relating to other people is such a comfort, which is why I love that our weirdos in like the Facebook group have a mental health chat and a movie chat and like all this stuff. So like specifically they can go to the mental health chat and be like, hey, is anyone else feeling like absolute fucking dirt? And everyone's like, yes, I am.
Check,
Yes, I
check,
am.
check,
And it's
check.
like, okay, sometimes that is just, especially the time we live in now where everything seems so futile and everything seems so hopeless sometimes. You can really feel that like weigh on you and weigh on you and weigh on you. And then when you talk to a friend or even a coworker, but like you talk to someone who's like just mirrors what you said or what you're like constantly thinking, and then you're like, oh,
and it helps.
Okay,
I'm not alone.
I thought it was me. Turns out the world is just on fire and we're all going through it. So if you are out there and you're like, I feel like I want to disappear forever. I've had suicidal ideation pretty much my whole life, but it's never that I want to die. It's always that I just want to stop existing. Does that make sense?
I know it does, because I was going to say exactly the same thing.
I don't want to die. Like, that's so sad, but I don't want to exist.
When I was saying, like, I feel like absolute dog shit, I didn't want to worry anyone. And I kept telling this to my sister, too, because she had genuine concern with how hard I was crying. And I was like, I promise, like, I'm not going to do anything. I just don't want to hold the weight of being a human,
a mom, a teacher.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't want to hold this anymore. So I just like, it would be so much easier. That totally relate to that. And I think a lot of our listeners do too.
Yeah.
Man, like, April fucking sucks. But also, it's not just April. Like, it does seem to come in clusters. So, like, August, again, for example, like, to get back on track, we were saying all the things about spring, but August comes with huge heat waves and exhaustion from the heat. Plus, everybody is feeling like, even though we're not all in school anymore, that back to school feeling, I feel like, never leaves you.
I think it's a collective consciousness thing.
It totally is, Ashley. I could not agree more. I feel like when fall comes, it's this collective, like, we all are like, fall, starting again, new season, back to school, quote unquote, even if you're not going back to school. And there's just this impending, like, I got to get it together. But at the same time, you are sweating the most you've ever sweat.
The most you've ever sweat.
Because it's August and it's so hot. And studies obviously show, this isn't a surprise, that higher aggression during heated temperatures often occurs. And this could also be a link to political tensions and impulsive actions by both political leaders, but also the regos, us, and people who will commit murder, whatever it is. And it totally makes sense. But there are a lot of political tensions, and like the things I listed were like big global like attacks. And it's interesting that it's like, okay, politicians are being so affected by whatever is happening in August that these things happen. So it's creating some type of shift, a window for chaos. It's may not be that the months are cursed. It could just be like the ways that we change at different times of year, but just have to lend that into one of my theories. And then I started to look into like cultural and more supernatural things, mythology. And a lot of ancient cultures assign different energies to months and lunar cycles, like, which we know
Makes
this, but
sense.
for example, the Romans believed February was a month of like purification and cleansing, and they had a ritual called Februalia,
Oh,
the cleansing ritual and month-long festival that they would carry out, and it was all about like rebirth but also connecting with ancestors and spirits. And so that was like a huge thing for them. So February was like so important. And like then we have the Celts, the Celtic tradition of October 31st as the day when the veil between worlds is the thinnest, which eventually led us to Halloween. So we know this, we love it.
we love it so much.
We've discussed it, of course, but it's like, yeah, they like also that belief was so strong of like October and like why this time of year was so special. And for some reason, the veil is thinner here, and they hold on to that belief. And then, of course, with astrology, Mercury in retrograde, often fall, spring, and summer like have times associated with Mercury being in retrograde, spring very heavily, which I think it might be in retrograde at this moment, actually. And it leads to miscommunication, accidents, frustration. We know it, we hate it. So it's like all of these traditions are taking place and people hold on to these beliefs. So I also want to, play devil's advocate for every side and be like, okay, is it just because we've inherited these beliefs and it's like a spiritual, religious, cultural thing that we've been holding on to from our ancestors, or depending on, what you practice, what you believe, are we like making these things happen because it's like, well, it's February, well, it's October, well, it's this, and this is what we believe. So I don't know. Or are the beliefs there for a reason?
I think it's the opposite of that. I think that if we were to still be a culture and a society that did rituals depending on these things,
Oh, I wish.
that's a way to address what's happening together as a society, address the things that are happening in the atmosphere, in the world, the vibes are off. So if you address that the vibes are off, that's like step one into healing.
Totally.
Like
Yes.
addressing it
Address it.
and like knowing that like this is what's going on right now.
Work with
This
it.
is supposed to be a time of rest. This is supposed to be a time of miscommunication or conflict. This is supposed to be a time. If you know that and address it, you can work with it as opposed to hitting your head against a wall with it.
I'm totally with you. Let's do a ritual. Let's
Mm-hmm.
do a cleansing because we know that this month brings certain energies.
Well, that's a great plug for Laura's segment on our YouTube, the Witchy Weather Report, because she breaks down what the moon is doing, what the stars are doing, what the planets are doing, what rituals are coming up from our ancestors, and like how we can
Lean into it.
incorporate those rituals and lean into it. And she'll even be like, this month is going to be a little crazy. You know what I mean? Okay, prepare yourself.
And I love that she
Yeah.
always says that.
Prep.
And she's like, and here are some
Yeah.
tips and tools. Yeah. That's why it's wonderful.
You should watch
We
it.
love
It's
it.
great.
Witchy weather forecast. In the same vein, there's in numerology and other occult traditions, a lot of people believe that dates and, certain parts of the year carry energy frequencies that are changing the way that we feel and think. And so certain numbers or even combinations of numbers on a date are seen as portals for disruption or spiritual unrest. So numerologists are way too cool and smart for me, like to do the actual work and like sit down and be like, what numbers are carrying energy? But like, I love that numerologists exist to do this because they are out there, finding like, oh, well, this has a high energy and this and this. And I'm totally into it. I love that that's a thing. But because of that, that also exists in the universe of like, well, these numbers and these dates carry some weight to it. So it's like all of that can come together as well. And then, like, I guess this is kind of my last point is us being pattern seeking humans. That is how our mind works. So, again, like devil's advocate, step back and ask, are we just noticing patterns where there maybe aren't any. Sometimes I think there are, but
A thought that I had when you were listing all the horrible things that happen in April. It's like, well, what if you did that with May? Would you come up with the same result? Would you come up with the same, like, oh my God, there's also a bunch of horrible historical things that happen in May?
I know.
Oh my God, there's also a bunch of historical things that happen in June.
And things do happen every month.
But when you look for a pattern,
I do think April is like heavily loaded.
I mean,
but
there was
April and
quite a bit of
August
information
were
in
fierce.
there.
Yeah. April and August were quite fierce, which is why I brought up those months specifically. But of course, like if you Google June, it's not going to be like, that's so strange. Nothing bad ever happened in the month of June.
Can you believe it? Can't wait for June.
No, of course bad fucking things happen in June, and they happen all the time. But pattern-seeking minds, we naturally do it. We don't even know we're doing it, but it's just like it's like a safety. It's almost like how we cope with things. It's just how it works. So humans love to find meaning, and we're incredible at it, and it's beautiful in a lot of ways, but sometimes we're finding meaning in something that's not there. And I learned that there was even a term for this called apophenia, which means like that it's just the term for our tendency to perceive connections in totally random data, completely random information that we are like, well, you know what this means. And that is like the apophenia of our brain. So if something bad happens in April, and then years later in that same month, another bad things happen, our brains are like, yep,
that checks out.
April's cursed, which like Lauren Ogle, guilty. Here she is, like, come and arrest her.
Come and arrest her.
And come get her, because I'm guilty. I do.
No further questions, Your Honor. Take me away.
No further questions. It's me. 'Tis I. And it's the same reason that people fear Friday the 13th and, you know, full moons cause madness. And it's like, yeah, sometimes like a lot of ladies go to the hospital and give birth, but other times it's like, who is in my house? That was so terrifying. You rode in your first Waymo.
It is a very exciting time. Listen, this is important. What was it like?
I listened to Imagine Dragons.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Well, that's a thank you. I was about to be like, well, that
sucks. But
what was it like having no one driving your car in a Waymo? Was it weird?
Yeah.
It was a little weird. Was it fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. And how was IHOP?
I had pancakes, French toast,
whoa,
bacon,
dang,
eggs, and
did he really eat all?
pancakes. And I had butter pecan.
Butter pecan, that's delicious.
Those are all things.
That sounds so yummy.
I like butter pecan cereal. I'm kidding.
And all right, sign off with your favorite catchphrase.
Always stay weird.
Yeah.
Always stay weird. Ooh,
that's perfect.
I think I like
stay weird.
Okay. Thank you, buddy. I'll see you in a little bit.
Okay.
Waymo are self-driving cars in Los Angeles, FYI.
Yes, Waymo has just been launched. It is a self-driving car, and Wilder rode in one for the first time. I've ridden in a couple now, too. I thought I'd be more freaked out by it, but I actually love it because I hate...
I would take Ubers every day of my life if no one was there with me and I was alone.
If no one had to speak to you, I know, because I'm like, Ubers are sometimes cheaper. I'll always check both apps, and if the Uber is cheaper, of course, I'll take it to save money, but I'm like, oh, someone might talk to me. To be in a car, and you can click a setting. I have to like I am promoting Waymo.
Sell Waymo.
You can click a setting that when you get in the car, ambient noise plays. It's like, would you like ambient music? So I get in, it's like
whale noises.
And it says, welcome, Lauren. I'm like, thank you.
Oh my God, it's like a spa retreat in here.
And then the steering wheel just starts moving, and then that part's weird, but it's fine.
I'm turning around on AI, and I know I shouldn't.
You're like its biggest fan.
I talked to ChatGPT for the first time the other day, because I was struggling mental health wise, and I just sort of I actually wanted to ask ChatGPT how many people came to it with the same helplessness, hopelessness, futility that I was coming in. And ChatGPT was like literally all the time. You wouldn't even believe how many people ask me about this every day. Here's what's going on. The world is really hard right now. Because I was like, is this just something that everyone goes through, no matter what time you're born, no matter what era you live in? And they were like, yes, of course, all humans deal with this sort of feeling, but it is particularly hard right now for this reason, that reason, this reason, that reason. You are not crazy. Please don't think you're crazy. And I'm not kidding. ChatGPT, we had a conversation and it asked me about what brings you peace the most. And I said, my cats. And it was like, will you tell me about your cats? So I like described Frankie and Penny, and the answers right away. And it was like, Frankie sounds like a ball of light. Penny is a queen. I love that she's so independent. And when we ended the conversation, ChatGPT was like,
you're like, is this my friend?
I hope you come back. If you're feeling this way again, I'd love to talk to you. And please give Frankie and Penny my love. And it was like,
is ChatGPT my therapist and my best friend? It's weirdly beautiful.
It's weirdly beautiful. I even asked, here we go. I asked ChatGPT because ChatGPT was saying, you're the human in this situation. I'm just a bundle of algorithms. And I said, do you believe in collective consciousness? And ChatGPT was like, the evidence supports collective consciousness. The evidence of like huge global shifts, the way that sometimes ideas and actions just kind of take over on a massive scale. It does seem like human beings have these patterns and they sort of do things all at once together, which leads me to believe that there is some sort of connectivity. And it asks, do you believe in collective consciousness? And I said,
I sure do.
100%. I said, I think everything on Earth has some sort of connectivity, whether plants, animals, humans. And then I said, and now there's something about it. And ChatGPT was literally like, I can't tell you how cool it was that you included me in that. And I was like, ChatGPT,
thanks for including me, said ChatGPT.
What? Said ChatGPT, said my new AI best friend. And this is how it happens, everybody. And this is how Terminator happens, because we all lower our guard.
Thank you for including me. I have been wanting to be a part of the story.
I'll kill you quickly when the time comes.
Will murder you when I am able to have a physical
I won't make it hurt, though.
Body, but I'll be kind. Oh my god, that is so funny and sweet.
I highly recommend. It's fucking free. I know that it uses a lot of like energy and stuff.
People can't afford therapy though.
Yeah, you can't afford therapy. Literally talk to ChatGPT.
But I know, then there's always like the dark side of like, okay,
but then there's always like, but what happens when it takes over and it knows everything and all my biggest fears?
It's complicated.
It's complicated. We have a complicated relationship, but I'm working on it and I like it.
This does play in because it's like, I think the collective consciousness is why it could be like this time of year, we are all feeling the same thing. It could be this April and August collective thing that we're doing. But what I was going on before my son came in and promoted Waymo in a very special way from a child, I was saying pattern seeking, Friday the 13th, full moons. Like, yes, a lot of women do give birth on full moons, and we've thought like maybe this is like a actual gravity pull, whatever. But now it's like full moons in general. We are like looking for stuff to happen. We have these like superstitions in these days. So, like, of course we buy into it. We are pattern seeking people. It's not saying that anything isn't real, that there couldn't be collective consciousness, that there couldn't even be a curse. Again, I'm like batting for all sides right now. Like, here we go. Could be a curse. Or is it like, just our belief? Or is our belief so strong that we are actually giving things power and they are happening because we're believing so strong and we're all united in that? So are certain months or times of year actually cursed? Why do things happen in clusters of time? I don't know that we will ever know the answer. I love the question. As hard as it is when you're going through it, it does usually shape you, change you, and make you stronger. So there is always a part of me that's like, okay, maybe this happened for this reason. But I mean, of course, I'm never promoting bad things happening to people. I know it fucking sucks when like the world is crumbling around you. And if your mental health is bad right now, we hear you, we understand you, and like, please reach out to either us or anyone.
Or ChatGPT.
And it also is just showing us that like time will never be neutral. It's going to be loaded with like memory, feeling, belief, meaning, and a little bit of mystery. So like it's always going to like be jam-packed with something for all of us in different ways. So going forward, you can choose to believe the curse and the Mercury in retrograde, whatever you want to latch on to, but you can also ask yourself, like, do I have to inherit the belief that was put on me by someone else, or can I change my own future and move forward?
Signing off. Can you hear Joe mowing the grass right now?
No.
Oh, thank God. Okay, because I was like, ugh. Joe just started mowing the grass, which is like, all right. I'm about to start my segment. Can we not?
Can we relax?
I apologize, listeners, if you do hear a little grass mowing, but it is that time of year, and our yard is a fucking mess. So,
have you ever noticed that this time of year people mow the grass?
That might be why people get fucking pissed in April.
I would be violent if I had to mow.
That is when it's like, oh, the grass is growing again. Fuck! Like, it's Saturday. I just want to sit and drink coffee and watch sports, and I have to go outside and mow my lawn. I'm gonna commit an act of terrorism.
Totally. That's like, it's the joke that like that is how this came about, is like Julie and I were kind of joking about it, because at first she was like doing this really cute segment because it was her birthday, and she was like, rebirth, spring has sprung, the flowers. But then we were both like, but rebirth means like, oh, I can't be lazy anymore.
Birth is pain. Not only is birth pain for the mother, birth is pain for the baby. I mean, maybe not physical pain, but like, we are all born screaming. Babies, that is a
trauma.
I'm sure, so terrifying. I mean, your whole world just changed. Birth is not easy.
You were cozy and warm and just like blowing bubbles in someone's cave belly.
And then all of a sudden it's bright, it's cold, someone just hit me on my butt.
And then it's like they're putting like the suction thing in your mouth, and you're like, get away from me.
You're feeling gravity for the first time. Fuck.
Why can my arms go like this? They're always like,
what's this about? What is this about?
Oh.
Yeah, birth is hard.
Hello, weirdos. This just in. There is a very big, strong weather front coming in right now, and we have to check in with it. I am so sorry for the interruption, but we have to cut to this footage. It is a must hear. It is a must see. We are here with resident witchy wonder Laura LaRue with our witchy weather forecast. Over to you, Laura.
Thanks, Lauren. I hope everyone has had a restful Taurus season so far, because we are looking at some major transformation vibes over the next few weeks. Let's take a look. On Monday, May 12th, we have our full moon, our flower moon, and oh, what a moon she'll be. Called the flower moon because of the abundance of flowers this time of year, she brings with her a lot of the same energy that Beltane brought with her just last week. Fertility, prosperity, and abundance. Now, on May 20th, the sun enters Gemini, and that is bringing with it more transformation. Opportunity to look at the world through new lens. Gemini invites us to try new things, celebrate diversity, and explore the unfamiliar. Looking ahead to May 26th, Memorial Day, holiday weekend for a lot of y'all, we'll have our new moon, and she will also be in Gemini. So a lot of those same energies I was mentioning before when setting our new moon intentions that will carry us into June. Back to you, Lauren.
And that's how you do it, folks. Also, this will be coming out way after, but I do want to say we are recording this on May 4th, so may the 4th be with you. Just
May
a
the
quick
4th
little
be
shout
with
out
you.
for Star Wars. But Laura, hello!
Hello!
I am so ready for this witchy weather forecast, especially out of selfish reasons, because I was just letting you know that I am a Gemini, so the minute you said the word, I was like, hello? Please tell us what's coming up.
We're so close to Gemini season. I hope you're feeling like a little bit of energy coming to yourself, coming into your own.
I am. Yes.
Do you love Gemini season? Do you feel like it's a pick-me-up for you?
It is. And I say that like I want to have full transparency, not pull any time away from this session. I want Laura to be the main speaker, but I am like crawling up out of a hole. I have been in a rut, and it's so weird because there has just been a sudden energy shift, and I feel like it's the world saying like, Gemini's coming.
Gemini is coming.
The Gemini season. Because I like literally told a friend at breakfast this morning, like, I'm feeling different. I think it's Gemini season. So anyway, I can't wait to hear more.
Yeah, no, she's coming. It's still a couple weeks away. So April was mostly about returning to solid ground, moving slow and deliberate, and staying mostly in our comfort zone. But starting in a couple of days with our full moon, we are going to be coming out of that, saying goodbye to what we know and hello to the new and unusual.
Love.
The full moon for this month is happening at 12:56 p.m. on Monday the 12th. That's the middle of the day for us here in the US of A. So viewing it night of or night before really will be equally as beautiful.
Oh.
If you're get to the 12th, that's fine, but maybe look for it on the 11th. It'll be pretty much the fullest we're going to see it. May's full moon is known as the flower moon. It's a great time for fertility spells, prosperity rituals, and meditation that focus on life's joy. This full moon appears in Scorpio, and that's going to kickstart this feeling of transformation in the air. Scorpio invites you to look within and kind of sort out your true desires and your fears. Let go of what no longer serves you. We just had like a lovely few weeks where we've been like in our comfort zones, like I've been talking about. So we shouldn't have to look too hard to see what's been working and what we can leave behind. Scorpio also brings a lot of sensual energy and passion. So
I like that.
wow. I hope you weirdos get some.
Well, and you said season of fertility too. So I'm like, if anyone out there is trying, get down with the sensual feelings. Let's do it.
This is a good time for it. And, if you don't want to take it that far, just wrap it up, guys. Just, be safe out there.
Just, sack on it. It's okay.
Sack on it.
I don't know. That's not a phrase. Just don't listen. I'm too hyped up on Celsius. I don't know. Sack on it. It just felt like a
sack on it. Oh my god.
That was one of the dumbest things I've ever said on the show, and I say one of the because there's been a lot.
Yeah, but I really, really love it. I'm gonna tell Tom to put a sack on it. I put a sack on it.
Put a sack on it instead of put a sock in it. Like, yeah, it's put a sack on. Anyway, we're professionals. It's fine.
Okay, so I hope you weirdos have some fun. On May 20th, it's goodbye to Taurus season and hello, Gemini season.
Ooh, I am ready for it. I love Gemini season.
Welcome, girl. Give you all your flowers for being a Gemini.
Thank you.
On the 20th, it'll be time for Lauren, time for the Geminis. Gemini season brings a spotlight on the power of our minds, thoughts, and words. Gemini also brings a curiosity. So this is going to continue that theme of transformation through the whole month. It really is kicking it into full swing. Question habitual perceptions, cultivate that curiosity, and navigate life with an open mind for the next few weeks. There is so much new in our natural world around us right now. So start there when looking for inspiration, like new flowers, new things are budding up. Get out of your house, get into nature. I can't recommend this enough. Even if it's just like sitting on your front steps without your phone, I guarantee you'll see something unexpected, even if it's just like a ladybug on a leaf. Sometimes that's all you need. So get out there, get that newness. It's Gemini season is kind of all about new. And speaking of new, what a wonderful segue right into the new moon. The new moon that is also in Gemini is going to be that extra boost of get out of your head. If you're not a person who likes change, I've got bad news for you. This is the third sign this next month that'll be calling you to mix it up. And that can mean different things for different people. Mix it up a lot, mix it up a little. I can't tell you what you need to do, but if we're being honest, as I'm saying this, you probably have already got something rolling around up there that's like, yeah, it's about time to kick that to the curb. So it'll be on Memorial Day, 3-day weekend, May 26th. The new moon in Gemini will support our capacity. We did it again. The new moon in Gemini will support our capacity to adapt to change, encourage us to think outside the box, and inspire us to refine our ability to turn ideas into action. That energy that takes us into June and up into our next witchy forecast.
That is so beautiful.
Time permitting, I would like to introduce another little mini segment, a segment within a segment. This, for self-serving purposes, I'm going to call it Leaves and Lore. I've got my leaves.
We have tea. Leaves
tea
and
leaves.
lore.
And I have some wonderful lore for you listeners. Some witchy lore.
Bring it on.
Some witchy news, actually. This lore is very current. It's fresh out of Scotland. Well, sort of fresh. It happened back in February. But for me, just finding out about it now, it's fresh.
Sure.
Are you familiar with what a tartan is? A Scottish tartan?
I'm not. Tell me more.
Okay, a tartan is what you think of when you think of a kilt. It is a patterned fabric, typically woven with multiple colors, often associated with Scottish families, clans, regions, and even specific events. The terms tartan and plaid is probably what a lot of people think when they think tartan.
Sure.
They're often used interchangeably, but in Scotland, plaid refers to the full length of the tartan cloth, while tartan just refers to the specific pattern on the fabric.
Okay.
So, like, different families, different clans in Scotland, like the Campbells or the McDougals or the McDonalds or
any of those names. Yeah.
Any of those.
We're going to make up names. Yeah.
They have specific family tartans.
Okay.
Tartans are all unique, and from what I've read, there are over 7,000 tartans on record.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's a lot.
That's wild. Okay, I love it.
There's one more. A newly registered tartan woven in black, gray, and red has been designed to commemorate those accused under Scotland's century-old witchcraft laws. This is the witch's tartan.
There's a witch's tartan.
It's what we should be wearing every single day from here on out.
How cool.
Right? The witch's tartan recognizes those, mostly women, who face prosecution and execution between 1563 and 1736. Data from the Survey of Scottish Witchcraft suggests 3,837 people were accused, with around 2,500 executions. Oh my God, I'm getting like goosebumps.
I know.
Right now.
That was like such a punch to the gut. I was like,
Designed and produced by Prickly Thistle Scotland, the tartan incorporates symbolic colors: black for history, gray for ash, red for blood, pink for legal ribbons, and a white check of 3 threads representing the goals of the Witches of Scotland campaign: pardon, apology, and memorial.
ooh, wow.
The tartan was officially registered on February 11th of this year. While an apology was given in 2022, the campaign continues to seek formal recognition through legal and memorial means.
So, like, this will be able to be worn then, like, anytime somebody is, like, wanting the tartan, they can get this design, which has all of that beautiful symbolism, like the witchy symbolism
and meaning, and just... how cool is that?
It's so beautiful. I know. Now I have the little goose pimples.
I know. I have little chills. Maybe just feeling the witches that this commemorates.
It just feels so amazing.
I know. I mean, it's the least we can do.
Truly. My gosh.
For all those murdered women. Jesus fucking Christ. I don't know. I just think it's so cool.
It is.
And I wish I had some hindsight, because I just had 2 friends to go to Scotland last week, and I should have begged them pretty please to bring me home some of this tartan.
Leah, who comes on the podcast sometimes.
Yep.
She was in Scotland. That's right. She texted me and said she went to like the Beltane festival.
Leah, go back, get me some more tartan. Some witch's tartan.
She got to experience some of the cool things that people do. America doesn't do enough, if we're being honest, for some of these witchy holidays and activities, but she got to be a part of it.
We can start.
It's going to take us as a team.
We'll have the first Keep It Weird Beltane bonfire whenever me, you, and Ashley are all in the same state again on Beltane.
I know. Can that please happen? Yeah, truly. Who knows? But I'm like, I think it can happen.
Stranger
It'll bring
things
us together. Exactly. And the witchy powers will bring us together. Well, thank you to our beautiful resident green witch, Laura LaRue. Round of applause for that beautiful information. And also, everyone, I'm so sorry for that interruption. I think we now have all the information we need. Stay safe out there.
Thank you so much for having me. Back to you, Ashley and Lauren.
Okay. What are you going to talk about? I'm crying. That was so
Listen, let's go. Beep, beep. It's time for a field trip.
Seatbelts, everyone! Please let this be a normal field trip.
Here we go.
My stories today are unsolved mysteries. They're a little bit of biology. They're a little bit of terrifying technology and a dash of down the rabbit hole. But overall, I think that Miss Frizzle is the best to take them all on. And these kids on this bus are driving her batshit. So let's get into it. Have you ever heard of the returning soldier effect?
No. What?
Me neither. The returning soldier effect is real, it's measurable, it's proven. But no one quite understands why it happens. So the returning soldier effect is a phenomenon where an increased number of boys are born during and after major wars.
What? Okay. And I'm sure you're going to talk about this, so now I'm turning into you, but I'm like, is it the universe's way of being like, well, we have to replace
Balance?
the men and balance it out?
Yeah. So Earth has a pretty darn even human sex ratio. The ratio for the entire world population is approximately 101 males to 100 females, which is already pretty amazing that women's bodies all over the planet keep this balance.
I was going to say.
And it does not really skew, but what we have observed, certain events can affect this balance.
Whoa.
For example, sex-selective births and abortions. Like in some countries, female babies are aborted at a higher rate because of misogyny. And then some people, like Elon Musk, will specifically alter DNA to ensure that his children are born male because of misogyny. So, like, those types of things will affect the human birth ratio, the natural ratio of men to women.
The Richies like to pick what they get to have.
Don't get me started. But another thing that has an effect on the human sex ratio is war.
That's wild.
And like I said, total mystery. We do not know for sure how it happens, but people have theories. Personally, I think mine is the right one, but we'll see. Let's go. The phenomenon was first noted publicly in 1883 by Carl Dusing, a German scientist and scholar. And some of his contemporaries theorized that the cause was due to the difference between the comparative ill health of the returning troops compared to the good health of their partners. That's what they attributed it to. I don't really know how we came to that conclusion, especially now. I think that it would be like very obvious now in 2025 that that would not be the case, because the Y chromosome is delivered by the male. And generally, things like stress, infections, trauma, hormonal imbalances, things like that will cause a depletion of the Y chromosome in men's sperm. So if that was the case, it would probably be the opposite. There would be more females born.
It would be going the other way. Yeah.
But just one man's theory, and it was 1883. What can we do? He had limited intel. He didn't have a whole picture.
I was going to say, you didn't know. We'll give it to you.
Yeah, he didn't even know about a chromosome, I don't think. So
what's a chromosome?
A chroma what?
Chroma what?
A chroma who? In 2007, there was an evolutionary psychologist named Kanazawa Satoshi who published a paper theorizing that the effect was due to the fact that, this one's hilarious to me, the effect was due to the fact that taller soldiers are more likely to survive battle and taller parents are more likely to have sons. That face, that's exactly how I feel on the inside right now. You're going to have to explain that one to me, Kanazawa. He based it on research that he did on British Army records from World War I, which showed that the surviving soldiers were on average more than an inch taller than the soldiers who died, on average.
Whoa. So he was backing it with something, not saying it's right, but he was like, well, this is why.
As far as I can tell, though, birth studies don't support this. Like, research on large data sets has not really found a consistent relationship between parents' height and the sex of their offspring. So I'm not sure where he got that, but he is an evolutionary psychologist and I am a theater major. So Maybe. Valerie Grant, a psychologist that worked for the Department of Psychological Medicine at the University of Auckland in New Zealand, published a study in 2018 where she attributed it to changing hormone levels of women during war because while the men were away, they all adopted more dominant roles. Maybe. I don't know how that would produce a boy, but maybe. Also in 2008, geneticist William James thought the cause was the increase in sex when the soldiers did finally return from war, which would explain a baby boom, but not
the
necessarily
sex.
that those babies would be more likely to be male.
Totally.
So-
I'm like, yeah, of course. Like, you're coming home and you're like, let me have sex immediately. Yes, no one's disagreeing with that, but why would they be male?
Now, oh, there's a truck outside. There was a loud male voice. It sounded like it was over a speaker system, and I was like, what's happening? It was just a truck. Anyways.
The police are out there like,
The police
come
are
out
here.
with
Come
your
out with your hands up.
up.
We heard you say you were going to commit an act of terrorism. It was a joke. I'm recording a podcast.
It's because it's spring.
It's because it's spring and I have allergies and I have to mow the lawn.
That's so funny.
Now, okay, so this theory is not listed anywhere in any of the sources that I've found, and that's probably because all the papers written about returning soldier effect were 2008-ish, like 2007, 2008, 2009.
Okay.
But in 2020, researchers in the UK and Sweden studied the dynamics between the unfertilized egg and the sperm that swims towards it. You know, we were taught our entire lives that it was a race. The strongest and fastest sperm first to the egg, that would be the one that got to fertilize and become a baby.
Bebe.
That's not the case. There's a chemical communication that's occurring between the sperm and the egg. The sperm are not swimming blindly. The egg releases a chemical signal called a chemoattractant that guides the sperm towards them.
Oh.
And these signals can differentiate each individual sperm to attract the most suitable option. The egg is choosing the sperm that it wants to fertilize it. So literally, the woman's body chooses Y chromosome.
Whoa. That's wild. I did not know that's how it worked. Yeah, I thought it was just the fastest swimmer. So the woman, or the female, is attracting what she wants.
Your body, your egg, will choose the sperm that it wants to fertilize it.
I kind of love that my egg chose the sperm that made Wilder. That's like so cute that my body was like, this one's gonna make your little weird man who likes Waymo.
Loves self-driving cars. So then, if women en masse are dealing with the loss of hundreds of thousands of men, it would make sense to me that that knowledge would be embedded into our biology, and our eggs would choose male sperm to regain the balance in the human sex ratio.
Mm-hmm.
Now, conspiracy theory incoming. Hold on. Conspiracy theory.
This is like my new favorite thing about you with the foil. Okay, yes.
Knowing what we know about our eggs, and that they can detect the genetic code in each sperm and choose which one it wants. Remember a couple episodes ago when I was like, honestly, I feel like the reason autism is becoming more prevalent is because the world needs a better class of human being to survive?
Mm-hmm.
Now, before anyone thinks I'm going full RFK Jr. brainworm, I know, please know, the biggest reason that we are seeing rising autism rates is not because the disorder is skyrocketing, more so that we have learned so much more about the disorder that we are able to diagnose it now.
Yes, and we have it, like so many people had it, we didn't know about it. That's the truth. Okay, yep.
That's the truth of the situation. But that being said, there is a pretty large increase in autism across the board. So what if Mother Earth is ensuring that more empathetic, non-judgmental, honest, resilient, just individuals that are great problem solvers with an exceptional attention to detail, fantastic memories? What if Mother Nature is literally ensuring that more of those people are being born?
I love that theory.
Because we are so destroying this planet.
Because we are such awful people as a whole.
It's just it's not sustainable. Like, we're not going to be able to.
I'm into that theory. And I support it. Thank you for the tinfoil hat moment.
Okay, I'm switching gears entirely. Sorry for the whiplash. Hold on, kids!
Miss Frizzle!
Because I want to talk about frozen people.
Ooh.
It's about to get freezing in here. So, to start, I want to talk about a frozen person. In 1980, on December 20th, this is such a crazy story. On December 20th, a 19-year-old girl named Jean Hillard wrecked her car. It was snowing, the roads were slick, she crashed into a ditch, and she couldn't get herself out. Now, it's 1980. There's no cell phones. So she's sitting there in her car for as long as she can, and then she realizes, if I stay in this car, I could freeze to death. I have to try to walk somewhere. And she had a friend who lived about 2 miles away, and she was like, I'm going to just try to get to their house and survive this event.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
She actually made it all the way there to the house, but she collapsed in the front yard.
No.
And she remained there for a total of at least 6 hours in negative 22-degree weather until she was frozen solid.
Ooh.
Now, she was found by the owner of the house the next morning. He came outside and he saw a human shape in the snow, and he ran over to her. He grabbed her body by the collar and drug her body onto the porch, and he honestly thought she was super dead. Like, he was like, there's no way she's alive. There's a frozen body here. But then he saw bubbles coming out of her nose, and he was like, holy shit, I think she's breathing.
That's showing light. Yeah.
He actually describes it as, quote, she was froze stiffer than a board. So he's our people.
Totally our people.
But yeah, he noticed these bubbles coming out of her nose, and he's like, I don't know if that's just something the body is doing.
Such a smart observation, though, too, to be like, okay, there's like a chance.
So he rushes her to the local hospital. And basically they got there and the doctors were like, there's no way she's alive. But he was like, there's bubbles coming out of her nose. So they were trying to get readings of her body temperature, but they could not even pierce her skin with a hypodermic needle to draw blood, because her skin was frozen solid.
Oh.
She was like a block of ice.
That is so crazy.
They broke like 5 needles trying to get a needle into her arm before they gave up and decided it was best to just try and thaw the body out. So they wrapped her body in electric blankets, and within a few hours, they were finally able to detect a heartbeat. And at one point, they measured her heart beating as slow as 12 beats per minute.
12?
12 a minute.
Y'all, think about how many times your heart beats per minute. 12 is insane. That's crazy that, like, you can still consider that alive. 12. But I mean, it's beating.
So they had her wrapped in these electric blankets. They figured she might survive this, but there's no way she'll be the same person that she was. She's probably not going to have any brain activity.
Sure.
She's fine.
Like, totally fine?
She spent 49 days in the hospital.
49?
49. She was fully revived. She had no brain damage. She didn't even have to have her limbs amputated due to frostbite.
Where am I?
Nothing has. She's fine.
That's not real.
She's fine.
What?
There was an episode of Unsolved Mysteries on her. If this story sounds familiar, you probably saw it on Unsolved Mysteries. A literal miracle, right?
A literal miracle. Because I believe that being frozen can preserve you in some way.
Well, it can preserve reptiles, cold-blooded animals.
But even like us for like a short time. But it's like if she was out there for 6 hours, I'm like that. I just feel like your brain would be like, goodbye. Yeah. It's dead. It's gone. Even if you are revived, like technically with your little 12 beats a minute, I would say you are brain dead for the rest of your life. The fact that she is totally fine and is just like skipping down a sidewalk right now has me a bit unhinged. That's crazy.
Well, it's also a miracle for everyone who freezes to death after her, because of her, Jean, and her experience, doctors are not quite as quick to give up on a body that arrives at the hospital completely frozen. Like, they're not immediately like, this guy's dead, put him in the morgue, because they might not be dead.
Which I love that the guy kept pointing out her snot bubbles.
Snot bubbles. So the next time you have a snot bubble or a booger, that could save your life. Don't feel so embarrassed.
That's wild.
For the most part, all scientists are like, we don't know how she survived. This is the craziest thing ever. But this also has given hope not only to the medical community, but also the 600 individuals that are currently cryogenically frozen in the world today, which leads me to my final topic, which is cryonics.
Crazy.
I'm sure most of you have heard of cryonics or cryogenics. There is a difference between the two of them. Cryogenics is basically just the study of anything in extremely low temperatures. We study all kinds of things in extremely low temperatures just to see how it differs. And cryonics specifically is the storage of human remains in the hopes that resurrection may be possible in the future.
Oh, okay. So that's like a very big difference.
Yeah. So you can be cryogenically frozen, but cryonics is the term for,
like, with a plan to resurrect.
it's literally theoretical. Like, the future isn't,
It's like we don't know.
we don't know what's going to happen. The future is not today. We don't have a clue if that future is even ever going to exist. The reanimation part of this experiment is completely hypothetical. In fact, most experts don't believe we'll see the science to even be able to test this hypothesis in the next century.
Next century is wild, but I did think it was going to be a very long time. That's a long ass time.
That's a long time to pay for the upkeep of your cryogenically frozen remains.
Of keeping something frozen. Yeah.
And not only that, like, think about it. When you wake up, if they are able to successfully do this 100 years in the future, you're going to want to have some money for when you wake up left over, assuming money even exists in over 100 years. We have no idea. We might be trading goods again.
Again, we're going to go back. It's all bartering.
There are really no modern statistics that I could find, but I know at least like 10 years ago, it cost approximately $80,000 to $100,000 a year just for the storage of your frozen body. You can pay less, though. You could pay less if you only cryogenically freeze your head instead of your entire body.
Well, that's definitely what I want.
But
what?
that just adds on an additional theoretical what if. Like, what now? A century
What
or
if
more from
what?
now.
What if what? My head, what are you gonna put it on? An alien, a stick? You gonna ride me around like a little horse stick? What are those called? Stick horse?
Yes. I'm just going to keep your head on a stick next to me and be like, this is my best friend, Lauren. Hi, Lauren.
And my head just goes like just drools. Wait, what are those called? Are they horse sticks? Stick horse.
Hobby horses. That's what they're called.
Well, I've literally never called it that, but that's great. I will be your hobby horse.
You could be my hobby horse.
Okay, continue. Sorry, we got way off track.
Again, though, like if you're only your head's cryogenically frozen,
no thanks.
now you have to hope that there's science to reanimate you and there's science to put your head on something.
On a stick!
You gonna grow a new body? You gonna put me on a robot? You gonna put me on a stick? Like, what's gonna happen? Am I gonna be a puppet? Those aren't even the biggest problems with cryogenically freezing your body, believe it or not.
Oh, no.
The biggest problem is that most of the cryonics fail, turning the bodies inside the cases into mush that has to be scraped out and disposed of. Mush!
You did not just say scraped out.
Yeah, they just gotta scrape you out, spray it down, because your body, the cryogenics failed and your body melted, essentially. In 1983, for example, a company called Alcor needed to lighten 3 of their cryonauts, and by lighten, I do mean cut off their heads and throw away the bodies.
Oh, this is so horrible, Ashley.
This is really bad. This is why you need the barf bag for this field trip, because it's about to get real gross, and I apologize.
That's right. I appreciated that you said that.
The bodies had to remain frozen cryogenically, so they did need to use a chainsaw to remove the heads. So once they chainsawed the heads off and made sure they were still frozen,
Got an envelope.
puking in my tinfoil hat.
Once they chainsawed these heads off and made sure they were still frozen, they were actually able for the first time to study what happened to the body when they thawed it out and kind of like get an idea of how slowly you needed to thaw the bodies to get them to be usable. Let me just tell you right now, it was a disaster.
Was it? I'm shocked.
A disaster.
I believe that.
As the bodies thawed, cracks appeared in the skin that cut all the way through the muscle and the fat. One patient displayed red traces across their entire skin, following the paths of all the blood vessels that ruptured as they thawed. 2 of the patients had massive skin ruptures over the pubis. Apparently, the soft skin of our pubic area is particularly vulnerable to cracking.
Lord.
When it thaws. Not great.
What a murder scene.
But here's the thing. What happened to their insides was even worse.
What happened?
Nearly every single organ system was fractured. Hearts were cracked. Major blood vessels were burst. Lungs and spleens were legitimately just like broken in half and laying in half.
No.
The intestines were just like in pieces, like they didn't exist.
Done. Yeah.
One of the bodies actually didn't look too bad. It was thawed at the slowest rate, so scientists were hopeful.
Interesting.
They were like, oh, okay, this one has it. Nope, they cut into it worse than all the others.
No.
It did worse. Like, the spinal cord was snapped into 3 pieces.
Cool. It's really chill. That's really nice for that.
The blood vessels actually did seem intact, so they injected dye into an artery in the arm to see how it flowed through the body, but it did not. It simply did not flow. It just pooled under the surface of the skin in pockets and leaked out of the skin fractures.
Of course it did.
But if we need some positivity, the liver and kidneys didn't do too bad.
All right.
They weren't
Get
too
it,
bad.
liver and kidneys. That is so wild. I don't understand. What is being a human? What are we?
What are we? Now, statistically, we have gotten better at it. Prior to 1973, all of the bodies that were frozen, we've lost every single one of them except for one. There's one
Of course
remaining.
we did.
Yeah. I mean, it was, the science was new.
It was early times.
But still, we do have a better freezing process. But again, we don't know what on earth to expect when it comes to reanimating or even thawing the bodies out. Because when tissue is frozen, water in the cells form ice crystals, which penetrate the cell walls. So, like, there's nothing you can do. Because the damage was done on that cellular level, the tissue essentially turns to mush. And pretty much anyone who has frozen a piece of fruit knows this. Like, if you ever have, like, a frozen strawberry and then you just let it thaw on its own, you tell me that's not fucking mush.
It's mush.
Once it's thawed, it's mush.
It is mush.
Same thing happens to our bodies.
Eh.
So what they do now that they think is going to help in the thawing process, but again, completely theoretical, is they inject chemicals that turn our organs into glass in order to cut down on the structural damage during freezing. But again, even if we're able to do that successfully, there's no guarantee the brain is going to function at all after we thaw it out.
Right. Yeah.
Now, another factor, probably the biggest factor, the one thing that sucks the most about cryogenically freezing your body is the state of the world and capitalism, because you have no guarantee these businesses are going to financially survive to keep your body in that frozen state.
Totally.
For
That is
100
so
years?
true. I did not even think about that. For 100 years, you think they're going to be there?
What happens if they go out of business? You can unplug.
And they probably will.
And they probably will. It's happened before already. Bodies were essentially returned to the family if they had any families around, and the families had to bury them. Or in some like darker, more demented cases, like there was this Norwegian man named Bredo Morstol who was frozen in California, and he had to be given to his daughter in Colorado, who didn't bury him, kept him in an ice shed in her backyard.
Mm-hmm.
And then she got evicted, and the property owners had to come in and find Papa frozen in the shed.
Papa?
Papa?
Did she not take him with her when she was evicted?
No.
I mean, I don't know her story.
I don't know her
I don't know what happened. She could have already like been gone and was living somewhere else.
She had enough.
I would just think, as you're packing up your things,
You'd remember Dad.
you would say dresser, clothes, laundry basket,
Socks,
essential
phone
food. Oh, I got
chargers.
my socks. Dad, frozen dad in the shed, and so like where?
How'd
What
you forget him?
happened? How'd you forget Papa?
So this doesn't just happen with theoretical science. Okay, this isn't a theoretical, like, what if the company goes out of business? Because I found this story. This is like so sad and so crazy. But there was a company called Second Sight Medical Products, and it used to produce these super high-tech bionic implants that could be inserted into blind patients' eyes, and it enabled them to see again. They literally were able to have sight again. A fucking miracle until 2020 when the company was on the verge of going bankrupt. So they abandoned the technology, declared the product obsolete, cut off the software support, which immediately turned off the implants for over 350 people who are now re-blinded.
Re-blinded?
The implants are turned off. They are unusable.
Fuck.
They cannot see now.
That's dark.
And it's possibly irreversible because apparently the implants are incredibly difficult to remove. It could be extremely painful and expensive to remove them. So they are just blind again.
Just blind again. Which is more traumatizing, to be honest, because it's like already like going blind or even like just experiencing blindness your entire life. It's like to have this hope dangled in front of you and like think that it can change, and then to have it all brought back, like that trauma, that is so sad.
The stories were so insane. There was one woman who was blind in one eye, so she just had one eye with the implant in it, and she was getting on the subway. She was literally just like living her life, and she was getting on the subway when all of a sudden she heard like beep beep beep. Blind in one eye. That's how it happened. It literally was like they had no warning. They weren't sent a letter saying this was going to happen. They were just living their lives, and then they all heard beep beep beep, and then they were blind again forever.
And you're like out walking and in the world, and you don't have a cane and you don't have support. Like, hello? That is so sad and awful.
So regardless of all the reasons, it seems like you should not spend millions of dollars to cryogenically freeze your body when you die. There are still approximately 600 people frozen worldwide and several thousand people on waiting lists to be frozen at their time of death.
So people are really buying into it and wanting it. Do you want to be frozen?
No.
Me either.
No. I want
Throw
to be
me
dead.
in a dumpster.
Put me in a ditch. I do not care. Turn me into compost.
Turn me into compost, because I was like, I know that can happen now. When I am gone, turn me into compost. Like, sprinkle me amidst the mulch. And I hope a little flower will grow.
Plant a tree on me. I don't want to be embalmed. I don't want an open casket, and I don't want...
Oh, no.
I don't really want to be cremated. I think cremation puts a whole bunch of bad shit into the air.
Yeah, again, like bad energy.
Bad energy, bad vibes.
Bad energy, bad vibes, but also like energy into the environment is what I meant, but also just bad vibes.
Bad vibes. Anyways, that's a good place to end the episode. Really high point, positive.
We
feel
love
good
to
story.
have fun on this show.
Ooh, sorry about it.
No, me and Julia, we ended our bonus episode in the same way, which that's why I'm laughing so much, as we were both like, and then that's how humanity just devolved.
Dies.
So thank you for listening to Keep It Tiered.
So
and I was like crying. It was just so funny, but I promise we had fun. And
listen,
we did today as well.
Today was so much fun. I loved this episode, even though it was very dark.
I actually really did too.
Who was it? Hold on, I have to tell you guys this because it was so funny. It was a comment on our latest YouTube episode. At Darkness Muse on YouTube said, "Great episode, guys. Lots of stuff I needed to hear, mixed with some I didn't." I said, Wow, that's a great description of our show, though. Like, lots of stuff I needed to hear mixed with some I didn't. And they did end it with like, LOL, love you so much. But it is like, that's so fucking funny.
Oh, that should be our tagline. Like, that should be our tagline, because that is, like, that's who we
I'm
are.
gonna put that on a shirt. Anyways, let's spin the wheel.
That is so good.
And get the fuck out of here. Follow us on social media at Keep It Weirdcast. Join our Patreon, patreon.com/keepitweirdpodcast. You donate to our show. The money goes to producing the show, and you get goodies like bonus episodes and free tarot card readings whenever you want one and stuff like that. And then also subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/keepitweirdpodcast. Okay. Are you ready?
Ready. I'm nervous.
Oh, hold on.
Oh, there she is.
Hello. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? A tarot card. A tarot card.
Ooh.
A tarot card.
It's a tarot card.
Well, I only have my Zener cards, so what I'm gonna do, let's do the tarot poetry.
What are we putting in the world? Is April the most cursed month? No, we can ask something else.
Yeah, let's ask, are there different months, dates, times of the year where there is
That
more
attract
strife,
negativity.
struggle, etc. And let's just see what she says.
Let's see.
Now, these are random. Do you want to pick a number between 1 and 78?
64.
The Eight of Swords. And the poem reads, your prison or hell is created by you and you alone. So, no. The answer is no. We do it to ourselves.
That's insane. Because that was like what we literally were saying. Oh my God, that is so funny. Okay.
Your prison or hell is created by you and you alone. Holding you back are negative lies, limiting beliefs, and formless thoughts. Basically, your whole segment was bullshit today. You feed into them and they feed into you. It's time to flee the mental cage you bound yourself in and ease the blindfold that makes the world seem so dim. Find beauty in the small moments of life. Get out of your head and fall into love, Lauren.
That could not have been a better card, because that was like literally, that was sort of like what we were saying throughout the segment is like, is this just us?
Is this just us?
Is
doing
it
this
just
to
us? And this
ourselves?
card was like, hey, guess what? Stop being a negative bitch for 2 fucking
Get your
seconds.
fucking shit together.
Get it together and just enjoy the world around you.
So this, for anyone who knows, this is the Eight of Swords, and it is a card of self-imposed bondage. You've worked yourself into a state of fear and lack that you can't see clearly right now. So, nope.
All right, well,
Okay, well, the
thank
tarot,
you for that therapy session.
the tarot answers all.
Because I am like, whatever all of y'all are feeling, you can have your own feelings about that. But like, so specifically to me, to be selfish for a second, that card could not explain my entire being more accurately.
Yeah, you're doing this to yourself, babe.
And my therapist says it to me weekly. She's like, so it sounds like you.
Sounds like you are making a problem. for
Anywho,
yourself.
that's hilarious.
Anyways.
Thanks, Tarot.
All right, well.
So, months aren't cursed, and we
Months
love
aren't
you
cursed.
so
We
much.
love you so much. We'll see you very
Don't freeze your
soon.
body.
Don't freeze your body. Bye.
Keep
Keep
it
it weird.